Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince by J.K. Rowling. Chapter 1. Dudley Demented. Harry lay hidden in the flower bed outside number 4 Privet Drive, eavesdropping on the evening news. His only link to the outside world. He hoped it might mention Voldemort's return, but there was nothing. No headlines, no panic. Just the sweltering heat of another uneventful Muggle summer. Inside, the Dursleys shouted about Harry's presence under the window. "What are you doing out there?" Uncle Vernon barked. "Listening to the news," Harry snapped, as if a normal boy would care. Harry had had enough. No news from Dumbledore, cryptic letters from Sirius, and no explanations from Ron or Hermione. Even Hedwig looked irritated after flying all over with no replies. Restless, he left the house and walked the quiet streets. In the park, he crossed paths with Dudley and his gang. "Still crying over Cedric, are you?" Dudley sneered. "Say that again," Harry growled, raising his wand. Suddenly, a strange cold swept in. The sky darkened unnaturally. Silence fell. Dementors. Expecto Patronum! His first attempt fizzled. Panic rose. Then, summoning all his strength, Expecto Patronum! A silver stag burst from his wand, charging the Dementors away. But Dudley had collapsed. Harry struggled to pull him home. "What's going on?" Dudley moaned. "Shut up, you're fine," Harry lied, breathing hard. Then, an unexpected voice. "Don't put your wand away, you fool!" shrieked Mrs. Fig. "We're in serious trouble." Chapter 2. A peck of owls, dragging Dudley home. Mrs. Fig, long thought to be just a cranky cat lady, revealed herself to be a squib working for Dumbledore. "Mundungus was supposed to be watching you. He ran off to buy cauldrons." "You're a witch?" Harry asked, shocked. "No, a squib, but I've been keeping an eye on you for years." As they neared the house, Mundungus Fletcher reappeared and was immediately pummeled by Mrs. Fig's shopping bag. "Dementors and little whinging," she screamed. "You'll answer to Dumbledore." At number 4, Dudley collapsed inside. Chaos broke out. "What's happened to Duddykins?" Aunt Petunia wailed. "What did you do to my son?" roared Uncle Vernon. "Nothing," Harry shouted. "We were attacked." Then an owl crashed through the window. A letter from the Ministry of Magic. "You are hereby expelled from Hogwarts. Your wand will be destroyed." Harry's blood ran cold, but more owls arrived. "Stay put. Don't leave the house. Don't do more magic." Arthur Weasley. "We're working on it." Sirius. And then a howler for Petunia. "Remember my last, Petunia." Everyone froze. Aunt Petunia paled. "He stays," she said. "He stays under this roof." Even Uncle Vernon was stunned. Harry was shaken. What secret did Petunia know? Chapter 3. The Advance Guard. Days passed in silence. Hedwig was gone, and Harry sat alone, locked in his room, until finally the Dursleys left one night, and a crash echoed from downstairs. Harry, wand in hand, crept down to find a group of strangers. One had a magical eye. "Lower your wand," said Moody. "Professor Lupin?" Harry gasped. "Watcher, Harry," grinned a young woman with bubblegum pink hair. Tonks. They were part of the Order of the Phoenix, sent to escort Harry. "Too dangerous to use magic to get you out. We fly," said Lupin. "But what's going on?" Harry demanded. "We'll explain when it's safe." Upstairs, Tonks packed Harry's things with a flick of her wand. "You're a metamorph magus?" "Born that way." As they prepared to leave, Moody handed Harry a note from Dumbledore. "The headquarters of the Order of the Phoenix may be found at number 12, Grimmauld Place." Harry read it, and moments later, the very house appeared from thin air, wedged between two others like it had always been there. Chapter 4. Number 12, Grimmauld Place. "What's the order of the—" "Not here, boy," Moody growled. Wait till we're inside. He snatched the parchment from Harry, burned it, and pushed him forward. Harry stared at the houses, number 11 to the left, number 13 to the right. No number 12. But when he focused on the words he had just read, a new house slowly swelled into existence. A dark door appeared. Lupin tapped it with his wand. A chorus of locks clicked open. "Don't go far in. Don't touch anything," Lupin warned as Harry stepped into the musty black hallway of number 12, Grimold Place. The house reeked of decay. Serpent-shaped lamps flickered on. Harry's chest tightened with unease. "Harry, dear," Mrs. Weasley rushed forward, hugging him tight. She looked thinner, paler. "Ron and Hermione are upstairs. Go on, the meeting's for order members only." "Why?" "Don't wake anything up," she said cryptically. Upstairs, strange things lined the walls. House elf heads, troll leg umbrella stands, and a thick silence that clung to everything. Mrs. Weasley dropped him at a bedroom door and hurried away. "Harry!" Hermione flew into him with a hug. Pigwidgeon darted through the air. "We're so sorry," she blurted. "We couldn't tell you anything. Dumbledore made us swear. We've got loads to tell you," Ron added, grinning. "Dementors? A hearing?" Harry stiffened. The happiness of seeing them faded. "So you've all been here, knowing everything, and I've been stuck in the dark?" His voice trembled. "Dumbledore thought, I've faced more than you two ever have," Harry shouted. "I saw Voldemort return." His voice filled the room, boiling over with hurt and betrayal. The others said nothing, Hermione on the verge of tears. Fred and George apparated in. "Don't bottle it up, Harry," Fred grinned. "You're interfering with reception." They unfurled a long string, extendable ears. "We're listening in on the meeting downstairs." Ginny joined them. "Won't work. Mum imperturbed the door." "Snape's in the meeting," George added. "Git," muttered Fred. "He's on our side," Hermione snapped. "Still a git," Ron said. Talk turned to the order. Bill, Charlie, even Fleur Delacour now working with them. Then Harry asked about Percy. A silence fell. "Don't mention him to Mum and Dad," Ron said. "He called Dad a disgrace. Said if they supported Dumbledore, he wanted no part of us. Walked out." "And me?" Harry asked darkly. "What does Percy think of me?" Ron looked away. "He said your word wasn't good enough. That you're attention-seeking." Hermione explained how the Daily Prophet was mocking Harry in small ways, painting him as a joke. "They're building a story," she said. "So when they expel you, they can say you were unstable all along." Before Harry could reply, Mrs. Weasley called them to dinner. Fred and George vanished. "Whose creature?" Harry asked. "The house elf. Completely mad," said Ron. "He's not mad," Hermione insisted. "He's been mistreated." They crept downstairs, overhearing voices. Snape's greasy head stood out among the crowd. But the kitchen was sealed tight, guarded by a portrait of a screaming old woman. Tonks tripped, knocking over a troll leg stand. Curtains flew open, and a portrait shrieked, "Half-breeds! Filth! How dare you defile my family's house!" Lupin and Sirius struggled to shut the curtains as the hall filled with magical noise. Finally, silence. Panting, Sirius turned to Harry. "Hello, Harry," he said grimly. "I see you've met my mother." Chapter 5, The Order of the Phoenix. Sirius led Harry down into the dark, smoky basement kitchen of his old family home. It had become the headquarters for the Order of the Phoenix. The mood was tense and tired. People clustered around a cluttered table, maps and scrolls scattered everywhere. "This was my parents' house," Sirius said bitterly. "It's mine now. I gave it to Dumbledore. About the only useful thing I've done." Harry sat between Sirius and a filthy man who turned out to be Mundungus Fletcher, who blinked at Harry and muttered, "Blimey, so he has." Dinner was noisy but warm, with spells gone awry, stew flying, and Tonks knocking over candles. Yet Harry could sense the unease beneath it all. Sirius, though smiling, was restless, bitter about being locked away. "I've been stuck inside for a month," he said, "while Snape gets to sneak around acting important." "At least you know what's going on," Harry said. Sirius snorted. "Cleaning this place? That's about it." After pudding, Sirius turned serious. "I'm surprised you haven't asked about Voldemort." "I have," Harry said. "No one tells me anything." A storm of arguments broke out. Mrs. Weasley insisted Harry was too young. Sirius argued Harry deserved to know. "He's not James," Mrs. Weasley shouted. "He's a 15-year-old boy." "He's got a right," Sirius growled. He saw Voldemort return. Lupin stepped in. "Better he hears it from us than rumors." Harry looked around. "I want to know." Mrs. Weasley relented, barely, and left the room with Ginny. "Voldemort staying quiet," Sirius began. "You surviving ruined his plan. You warned Dumbledore." "He's building an army again," Lupin added, "and after something new, something dangerous." "What kind of weapon?" Harry asked. "Something he didn't have before," Sirius said darkly. Before more could be said, Mrs. Weasley returned, arms crossed. "That's enough," she said coldly. "You're not inducting him into the Order tonight." "I want to fight," Harry said. "No," Lupin said firmly. "You're not ready. None of you are." The kitchen fell silent. Harry stood with the others, his mind spinning with everything he'd heard, and still didn't know. Chapter 6. The Noble and Most Ancient House of Black. Mrs. Weasley sent everyone to bed, but the night was far from over. Harry and Ron lay awake, whispering about the Order and the mysterious weapon Voldemort sought. Fred and George appeared suddenly, apparating into the room, excited about the same question. "What do you reckon it is?" asked George. "Something worse than the Avada Kedavra?" Ron said nervously. Ideas flew. Mass destruction, unbearable pain, but nothing certain. Their curiosity deepened. The next day, they joined the others in the drawing room, armed with sprays and cloth masks. Doxies, dangerous, fairy-like pests, had infested the velvet curtains. With paralyzing sprays and swift reflexes, the group battled the swarm. "Spray that at once and throw it away," Mrs. Weasley scolded Fred, who slyly pocketed a doxy. "We want the venom for our skiving snack boxes," George whispered. As they cleaned, Harry learned more about the twins' secret joke shop venture funded by his Tri-Wizard winnings. He grinned, glad Mrs. Weasley hadn't found out. The day's work was interrupted by shouts. Mundungus had returned with stolen cauldrons. Mrs. Weasley's fury shook the walls. Then came Creature, the ancient house elf. Muttering hateful things under his breath, he shuffled through the room, ignoring everyone. Sirius entered and confronted him. "What are you stealing now?" Sirius demanded. "Creature lives to serve the noble house of Black," the elf muttered, spitting curses as he left. Sirius led Harry to a faded tapestry. It showed the Black family tree, embroidered in gold. "My name was here," Sirius said, pointing to a burn mark. "Blasted off when I ran away." He told Harry about leaving home at 16, finding shelter with James Potter's family, and his brother Regulus, who had joined the Death Eaters and died trying to escape them. "Once you join Voldemort, there's no backing out," Sirius said grimly. Harry was stunned to discover Sirius was related to Bellatrix Lestrange, the deranged Death Eater he had seen in the Pensieve. "She's no family of mine," Sirius snapped. The house was ideal for the Order, protected, unplottable. but it suffocated Sirius. "I never thought I'd be trapped here again," he admitted. "I've asked Dumbledore if I can escort you to your hearing," as Snuffles. The word hearing punched the air from Harry's chest. He hadn't thought about it. Now the fear returned, sharp and cold. "If I'm expelled, can I come back here?" Harry asked. Sirius gave a sad smile. "We'll see." Cleaning resumed. The cabinets were filled with cursed objects, biting silver boxes, spider-like instruments, cursed lockets. George snuck away with a few dangerous trinkets for future experiments. Creature kept trying to save heirlooms. Sirius threw him out repeatedly. In quieter moments, Harry watched visitors come and go. Tonks, Lupin, McGonagall, even Snape appeared and vanished. All had order business. Despite the fear of his hearing, Harry found some joy in helping, laughing, and feeling part of something. But when night came, dread returned. On the eve of his hearing, Mrs. Weasley laid out his best clothes and reminded him to make a good impression. "Arthur's taking you," she said gently. "You'll wait in his office." Harry looked to Sirius, hoping he'd come too. Dumbledore said no. Sirius answered with clenched teeth. Harry's appetite vanished. Even with everyone nearby, he felt alone. Tomorrow would decide everything. "This way," said Mr. Weasley, leading Harry past a fountain of magical beings and toward the security desk. "Wand," grunted the guard. After a scan and inspection, he paused at Harry's name tag. "Thank you, Eric," Mr. Weasley said quickly, steering Harry away. They passed departments filled with memos and workers. Kingsley Shacklebolt pulled Mr. Weasley aside. "Give him the magazine," Kingsley whispered, handing over the Quibbler. "He'll enjoy it." In Mr. Weasley's tiny office, Harry waited while Mr. Weasley read an urgent memo. "They've moved your hearing. 10 minutes ago. Courtroom 10. Heart racing, they dashed through corridors and into a descending lift. "Those courtrooms haven't been used in years," Mr. Weasley muttered. "This is no accident." They exited deep underground, stone walls around them like a dungeon. "Go on," Mr. Weasley said, winded. "I'm not allowed in." Harry faced the heavy iron door. His hand trembled on the handle. He took a deep breath, pushed it open, and stepped inside. Chapter 8. The Hearing. Harry entered the shadowy courtroom, heart pounding. The stone walls and chained chair were grimly familiar. This was where he'd once seen the Lestranges sentenced through Dumbledore's pensieve. "You're late," came a cold voice. Fudge stared down at him. "I didn't know the time had changed," Harry said. "No excuse. Take your seat." Harry sat. The chains on the chair rattled but didn't bind him. Dozens of officials in plum robes stared down at him. Among them, Minister Fudge, stern-faced Madame Bones, and a shadowed witch to Fudge's right. "Charges against Harry James Potter," Fudge began, "include illegal use of the Patronus charm before Muggles on August 2nd. Do you confirm your identity?" "Yes," Harry replied. Fudge fired off questions. "You've used magic before outside school? You knew it was illegal. You were near Muggles?" "Yes, but there were Dementors," Harry insisted. A stir ran through the room. Madame Bones interrupted. "A corporeal Patronus? At your age?" "Yes, it's a stag," Harry said. "I've practiced since 3rd year." "Impressive," she murmured. Fudge cut in, scoffing. "He's lying. No one else saw them." "I did," came a calm voice. Dumbledore entered, conjuring a chair beside Harry. "There's another witness." Fudge looked rattled. Percy fetched Mrs. Figg, who gave shaky but truthful testimony. "I saw them. 2 Dementors. Everything went cold. I felt it." "She described it well," Madame Bones admitted. Fudge refused to accept it. "Dementors don't go rogue. The ministry controls them. Unless, said Dumbledore gently, they've begun answering to someone else. Fudge reddened. Dolores Umbridge leaned forward, toad-like and simpering. Surely you're not saying the ministry sent them. If the ministry controls them, then someone within must have ordered it, Dumbledore said. Tempers rose. Fudge ranted about Harry's past incidents, but Dumbledore calmly reminded him of legal limitations. This hearing is about one incident. Harry used magic in life-threatening circumstances. Clause 7 of the decree permits this. The Wizengamot murmured. Fudge faltered. Time for a vote, Madam Bones declared. Those in favor of clearing the accused. Hands rose. The majority. Cleared of all charges, Fudge said through clenched teeth. Excellent, Dumbledore said, rising. He vanished the chairs and swept from the room, never once looking at Harry. Chapter 9. The Woes of Mrs. Weasley. Harry left the courtroom, stunned but relieved. Cleared, he told Mr. Weasley, who cheered and led him away. But their joy was quickly shadowed by a run-in with Lucius Malfoy and Cornelius Fudge, deep in conversation. "What's he doing here?" Harry asked, glaring at Malfoy. "Trying to find out whether you were expelled," Mr. Weasley muttered. "He's always sniffing around Fudge." Back at Grimmauld Place, Harry was greeted like a hero. Everyone cheered, and Mrs. Weasley wept with relief. But Sirius seemed subdued. Over the next days, his mood darkened. "He was hoping you'd stay," Hermione said gently. "Now he's alone again." Ron received a Hogwarts letter. He'd been made a prefect. Everyone was shocked. "I thought it'd be you," Ron said to Harry. "Nah, too much trouble," Harry replied, forcing a smile. But deep down, jealousy stung. Weasley threw a party with banners and a feast. Lupin and Sirius joked about their own prefect days, or lack thereof. Moody showed Harry an old Order of the Phoenix photo. Faces smiled up at him, his parents among them, alongside others now dead or vanished. Harry felt a sharp twist in his chest. Later that night, he found Mrs. Weasley alone, sobbing over a boggart. It transformed into the dead bodies of her family, ending with Harry himself. Lupin arrived and dispatched the boggart. "I see them dead all the time," Mrs. Weasley confessed, shaking. "It's the nightmares, Percy, the war." Lupin and Sirius comforted her. "You're not alone," Sirius said. "We'll take care of them." Back in his room, Harry sat with the photo. His parents waved, unaware of their fate. His scar throbbed. He rubbed it and whispered, "Cut it out." A voice from the wall teased, "Talking to yourself? First sign of madness." Harry ignored it. He felt heavier, older, knowing what lay ahead. And prefect badges and joke shops suddenly seemed very far away. Chapter 10. Luna Lovegood. The morning of the Hogwarts Express departure was chaotic. Fred and George's bewitched trunks knocked Ginny down 2 flights of stairs. Mrs. Weasley was yelling, and Moody insisted they wait for a missing guard. Amidst the noise, Sirius, disguised as a dog, joined Harry's group, despite Mrs. Weasley's protests. At King's Cross, the group reunited on platform 9 3/4. As the train pulled away, Sirius joyfully ran alongside in his dog form. Once on board, Ron and Hermione had to leave for the prefect's carriage, leaving Harry feeling oddly alone. Ginny led him to an empty compartment where they joined Neville and Luna Lovegood, a dreamy Ravenclaw with eccentric habits and a fascination with odd creatures. Neville proudly showed off his rare plant, which ended up spraying everyone with smelly stink sap right when Cho Chang walked in. Harry was mortified. Later, Ron and Hermione returned from prefect duties, annoyed to report Draco Malfoy and Pansy Parkinson were also prefects. Luna dropped a strange comment about Ron's poor Yule Ball manners, then burst into uncontrollable laughter at Ron's joke about Goyle. Harry glanced through Luna's odd magazine, The Quibbler, which included bizarre stories about Sirius being a retired rock star and Fudge cooking goblins in pies. When Hermione scoffed, Luna coldly stated her father was the editor. Draco Malfoy stopped by to gloat about being a prefect and made a cryptic comment that unsettled Harry. He began worrying about Sirius having come to the station. At Hogsmeade, students exited the train. Professor Grubblyplake, not Hagrid, greeted first years. Harry was dismayed. Outside, he noticed the once horseless carriages were now pulled by eerie, skeletal creatures that no one else seemed to see, except Luna. "You're just as sane as I am," she told him. Harry wasn't sure if that was reassuring. Chapter 11. The Sorting Hat's New Song. Harry, unsettled by the skeletal creatures pulling the carriages, chose not to mention them further. Luna seemed unbothered and simply confirmed she could see them too. The group arrived at Hogwarts, passing dark grounds and an unlit Hagrid's cabin, which raised concern among the students. Inside the Great Hall, Harry scanned the staff table for Hagrid, but instead spotted Professor Grubblyplank and a toad-like woman in pink he recognized from his ministry hearing, Dolores Umbridge. The Sorting Hat then performed an unusually grave song, urging unity among the houses and warning that division could lead to disaster. Its message struck a chord with many, including Hermione, who noted the seriousness of its warning. After the sorting of the first years, Dumbledore welcomed everyone and introduced Professor Umbridge as the new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. But before he could finish announcements, Umbridge stood up to give her own speech, a dull, bureaucratic monologue laced with hints of ministry interference. Hermione, unlike most students, paid close attention and interpreted it as a sign the ministry intended to meddle at Hogwarts. Later that night in the Gryffindor dormitory, Harry had a confrontation with Seamus Finnegan, whose mother believed the Daily Prophet's anti-Harry stance. Their argument escalated until Ron intervened. Neville, however, expressed his and his grandmother's continued support for Harry. Harry lay in bed, anxious about the growing mistrust. The return to Hogwarts, once comforting, now felt tainted with suspicion, ministry oversight, and the absence of Hagrid. The world was changing, and Harry felt its weight more heavily than ever. Chapter 12, Professor Umbridge, shortened version. Seamus stormed out of the dormitory early, clearly avoiding Harry. "Does he think I'm dangerous now?" Harry asked bitterly. Hermione caught up with Harry and Ron on the way to breakfast. She pointed to a new notice on the common room board, Fred and George advertising for paid product testers. "They're unbelievable," she said, pulling the notice down. "We're prefects. We have to stop this." Seamus's suspicion that Harry was lying about Voldemort troubled him. Hermione gently reminded Harry, "Dumbledore said we need strong friendship and trust to resist you-know-who." Harry apologized for snapping at them. In the Great Hall, Hagrid was still absent. Hermione guessed Dumbledore didn't want to draw attention to it. Angelina Johnson, now Quidditch captain, approached. "Tryouts Friday. Be there." Fred and George appeared, joking about OWL, stress, and marketing their joke shop products. Harry kept quiet about the Tri-Wizard gold he'd given them. "You know," Ron said later, "being an Auror would be cool." Harry agreed. Hermione, thinking of her cause, said, "There are many worthwhile things to do." History of magic was as dull as ever. Hermione chided the boys. "How would it be if I stopped lending you my notes?" Later, Cho Chang approached Harry. They exchanged awkward pleasantries, but her smile lingered in Harry's thoughts. Snape's class was brutal. Harry messed up his draft of peace potion. Snape sneered, "Did you even read the instructions?" He vanished Harry's potion and assigned a long essay. Harry seethed. At lunch, Hermione consoled him. "Yours wasn't worse than Goyle's." Harry snapped at Ron and Hermione for arguing. He stormed off, brooding. Divination was tedious. Ron whispered, "We've stopped arguing." But Hermione says stop taking it out on us. Finally, defense against the dark arts. Professor Umbridge greeted them sweetly, but soon revealed her true colors. "This year, we will focus on theory only. No spell practice." Hermione challenged her. "How will we learn defense without using spells?" Harry exploded. Voldemort is back. Cedric was murdered. Umbridge's smile vanished. "That's a lie. Detention, Mr. Potter, and take this note to Professor McGonagall." Harry walked out, shaking with anger, the sealed pink note clutched in his hand. Chapter 12. Professor Umbridge, shortened version. Seamus dressed quickly and left before Harry could speak. "Does he think I'm dangerous now?" Harry muttered. Hermione caught them at the notice board where Fred and George had posted an ad. "They're offering paid test jobs for their joke shop. We'll have to stop them, Ron. We're prefects." As they walked to breakfast, Ron explained, "Seamus thinks Harry's lying about you-know-who." Hermione sighed. "Dumbledore said we fight you-know-who's division with friendship and trust." Harry apologized. "Sorry, I just hate this." In the Great Hall, Hagrid was still missing. Angelina, now Quidditch captain, stopped by. "Tryouts Friday, Harry." Fred and George teased about OWLs and stress. "Snack boxes will save your life," said George. "We're researching joke shop products." Harry, silent, remembered giving them his Triwizard Gold. As the owls arrived, Hermione unrolled the Daily Prophet. "Nothing about Dumbledore or you," she said darkly. Later, in History of Magic, Harry and Ron played hangman while Hermione glared. "What if I stop lending you my notes?" she scolded. They took shelter from the rain before potions. Cho Chang walked over. "Hi, Harry." Her smile lingered. Ron interrupted. "You support the tornadoes?" Cho nodded and left. Hermione rounded on Ron. "You're so tactless." Snape's class was as bad as expected. Harry's potion went wrong. Snape sneered. "Can you read, Potter?" "Evanesco." Harry's work vanished. Furious, he stomped out after class. At lunch, Hermione said gently, "Your potion wasn't the worst." Ron added, "Snape's always unfair to you." Harry snapped, stormed off, and stewed in his anger alone. Divination followed. Trelawney assigned dream diaries. Ron whispered, "Hermione says stop taking it out on us." Defense against the dark arts brought Professor Umbridge. Her sugary voice masked her strict control. "Wands away, quills out," she ordered. "We'll focus on theory, no spells." Hermione raised her hand. "How will we learn defense without magic?" Umbridge's smile froze. "This is a secure, safe classroom." Harry burst out. "We need real defense. Voldemort is back. Cedric was murdered." "Lies," Umbridge snapped. "Detention. Take this to Professor McGonagall." Harry grabbed the sealed pink note, shaking with fury, and left the classroom without a word. Chapter 13. Detention with Dolores, shortened version. By dinner, news of Harry's shouting match with Umbridge had spread. Whispers followed him. He says he saw Cedric murdered, reckons he dueled you-know-who. "I don't get it," Harry muttered. "They believed Dumbledore 2 months ago." "I'm not sure they did," said Hermione. "Then they went home and read you were a nutcase." Rain lashed the windows as they returned to the common room. Hermione suddenly burst. How can Dumbledore let her teach us? We've never had good defense teachers, Harry said tiredly. She's spying for Fudge, Hermione insisted. Let's just get our homework done, Harry muttered. Fred and George were feeding joke sweets to first years. Hermione snapped, "That's enough." "We're paying them," Fred protested. Hermione threatened, "I'll write to your mother." The twins froze. Ron muttered, "You handled it." Hermione stormed off. She left 2 wonky wool hats by the fire. "Hats for house elves," she said. Ron argued, "You're tricking them into freedom." "I won't let you touch them," she snapped, and left. Ron quietly removed the rubbish covering them. They should know what they're picking up. Next day was rainy again. "At least no Snape today," Ron said. "The hats are gone," Hermione said with satisfaction. "Guess they want freedom." Classes were intense. Flitwick and McGonagall gave long lectures on OWLs. Vanishing spells were hard. Harry couldn't make his snail disappear. Hermione managed hers perfectly. Harry and Ron spent lunch researching moonstones. Hermione avoided them. In Care of Magical Creatures, Grubbly Plank replaced Hagrid. They studied bowtruckles. Malfoy sneered, suggesting Hagrid was injured or worse. Hermione urged Harry not to react. In herbology, Luna said bluntly, "I believe you fought him." "Thanks," Harry said, though her radish earrings made others giggle. Hermione dismissed her odd beliefs, annoying Harry. Ernie told Harry loudly, "I support you." Umbridge's office was a nightmare of kittens and lace. She refused to let Harry skip Friday's detention for Quidditch tryouts. "Punishment can't suit the guilty," she said. "You'll come every evening." She handed him a special quill. "Right, I must not tell lies." He did, and pain slashed across the back of his hand. The words carved into his skin, healing only slowly. He wrote it over and over. She smiled, watching him. The next nights were the same. His hand became inflamed, bleeding. He never cried out. Ron caught sight of Harry's hand. "She did this to you? Tell McGonagall." "No," Harry said. "I won't give her the satisfaction." Ron shared his own secret. He'd been practicing for Quidditch tryouts in secret. Friday came. Harry did detention again, watching the pitch from the window as blood trickled from his hand. The pain was sharp, but he wrote again, "I must not tell lies." Chapter 14, Percy and Padfoot, shortened version. Harry woke early, grateful it was Saturday. Everyone else was still asleep, so he crept to the common room to write to Sirius. The letter was cautious. "Dear Snuffles, hope you're okay. We've got a new data teacher, Umbridge. I had that problem again last night during detention with her. We're missing our biggest friend. Right back soon." He hoped Sirius would understand the hidden messages. Hedwig flew off with the letter as Harry watched, then glimpsed a winged horse, just like the ones that pulled the carriages, soar from the forbidden forest. Cho appeared suddenly in the owlry. "Hi," she said, shyly. They chatted awkwardly until Filch burst in, accusing Harry of sending dung bombs. Cho defended him fiercely. Filch left, grumbling. "Thanks," Harry said. "No problem," Cho replied, blushing. Harry walked back to the castle feeling light. She thought he was brave. She didn't hate him. At breakfast, Ron asked Harry to help him practice Quidditch before the team session. Hermione scolded them about homework, but was distracted by an article. Sirius Black had been sighted in London. Lucius Malfoy tipped them off, Harry said bitterly. They also discovered that Sturgis Podmore had been imprisoned for trying to break into the ministry. "Something's not right," Ron muttered. Despite Hermione's nagging, the boys headed to the pitch. Ron was nervous. During practice, Malfoy mocked him constantly. He fumbled, got flustered, and hit Katie Bell in the face with the quaffle. Fred tried to give her a remedy, but accidentally used the wrong one. Bleeding badly, she had to be taken to the hospital wing. The session was a mess. Hermione tried to console Ron, but he snapped and stormed off. That evening, Percy's owl arrived with a letter warning Ron to stay away from Harry. Percy praised Umbridge and criticized their parents. Furious, Ron tore the letter into pieces and threw them in the fire. Hermione softened. "Give me your essays. I'll help you finish." Later, as they worked, Sirius's head suddenly appeared in the flames. "I've been checking every hour." "Sirius!" Hermione gasped. They quickly told him about Umbridge's detention. "I doubt she's a Death Eater," Sirius said, "but she's dangerous. She wrote anti-werewolf laws." "She's horrible!" Hermione snapped. "But what does Fudge think we're doing? Forming a wizard army." "He does," Sirius confirmed. "He thinks Dumbledore's training students to overthrow the Ministry." They also asked about Hagrid. Sirius said he hadn't returned yet, but not to worry. Then he suggested meeting in Hogsmeade. "No," Harry and Hermione cried. "You can't risk it. Lucius Malfoy might have recognized you." Sirius looked stung. "You're less like James than I thought," he said coldly. "The risk would have made it fun for him." He disappeared before they could answer. The fire flickered emptily once again. Chapter 15. The Hogwarts High Inquisitor. Hermione gasped at the Daily Prophet headline. Ministry seeks educational reform. Dolores Umbridge appointed first ever High Inquisitor. "High Inquisitor?" Harry said darkly. Hermione read aloud the article, which explained Fudge's new decree giving Umbridge power to inspect teachers. Lucius Malfoy was quoted praising the change. The article also hinted Dumbledore was losing control. "Now she's going to inspect teachers too?" Hermione fumed. Ron grinned. "Can't wait for McGonagall's turn." Umbridge didn't show up in History of Magic or Potions, where Snape returned Harry's homework with a large black D. Hermione tried to stay upbeat. "We've got time to improve, right?" Ron snapped. "I got a P. Happy now?" Fred and George joked about grades. "T stands for troll," George said. Fred added, "We just had charms inspected. Flitwick handled her fine." Later in divination, Umbridge sat in, making Trelawney uneasy. She questioned Trelawney, who awkwardly predicted doom for Umbridge. In defense against the dark arts, Hermione challenged the textbook. "I disagree," she said clearly. Umbridge penalized her, then Harry as well when he defended her. That night, Harry's detention reopened his wound. Angelina yelled at him the next day. McGonagall, overhearing, scolded them both and took more points. In Transfiguration, Umbridge tried to interrupt, but McGonagall cut her off coldly, continuing her lesson unbothered. During Care of Magical Creatures, Umbridge questioned Grubbly Plank and subtly attacked Hagrid's absence. Malfoy hinted Hagrid's lessons were dangerous. Harry defended him, earning another detention. That night, Ron and Hermione waited up. Hermione gave him a bowl of Murtlap essence. "We've got to do something," she said. "Poison?" Ron offered. "No," said Hermione. "I mean about defense. We're not learning anything from her. What if we teach ourselves? Too much homework already." Ron muttered. "More important than homework?" Hermione insisted. "We need a proper teacher." Harry frowned. "Who?" "You," Hermione said simply. Harry laughed it off. Ron said, "You've done more than any of us. You faced you-know-who." "It wasn't skill," Harry said angrily. "It was luck. You don't know what it's like." Ron and Hermione fell silent, shaken. Then Hermione whispered, "That's why we need you. We need to know what it's really like." Harry sat back down, calming. "I'll think about it," he muttered. Hermione left quietly. Ron followed. Harry repaired the broken bowl and trudged upstairs, his scar prickling again as sleep overtook him. Chapter 16. In the Hog's Head, Hermione waited 2 weeks before bringing it up again. They sat in the library, wind howling outside, potion books open in front of them. "Have you thought about teaching defense against the dark arts?" she asked quietly. Harry looked away. "Yeah, a bit." Hermione leaned in. "You're the only one who's faced real dark magic and lived to tell it. We need someone like you." Ron added, "I thought it was a good idea from the start." Harry hesitated. "You do realize half of what I've done was luck, right?" "Even so," Hermione said, "you can do things others can't." Victor said. Ron sat up sharply. "Vicky said what?" Hermione rolled her eyes. "That Harry can do spells he can't, and he was in his final year at Durmstrang." Harry chuckled, but Hermione turned serious. "We should include others. Anyone who wants to learn. We're not safe. Voldemort is back." "Let's do it in Hogsmeade," Hermione suggested. "Somewhere Umbridge won't overhear." They agreed to meet the next weekend. When Saturday came, the 3 of them walked through the frosty streets of Hogsmeade. Hermione led them to a dingy little pub off the main road. "The Hog's Head?" said Ron, eyeing the faded sign. "This place smells like goats." Inside, the air was thick with smoke and the sour tang of old ale. Hooded figures hunched at tables. They ordered butterbeers from the grimy barman, who stared briefly at Harry's scar before turning away. "I told a few people to meet us here," Hermione said. "A few?" Harry asked, eyebrows raised. The door banged open. Neville, Dean, Lavender, then more. Cho Chang, Luna, even Fred and George. More than 20 people filled the tiny pub, all looking expectantly at Harry. "What did you tell them?" Harry hissed at Hermione. "Just that you might want to teach us," she said. "You don't have to say much." But the room had gone quiet. All eyes turned to him. Hermione stood. "We're here because we want to learn real defense against the dark arts. Not theory, the real spells. Because Voldemort is back." A murmur of unease swept the group. Cho's friend spilled her drink, but no one left. Zacharias Smith crossed his arms. "Where's the proof he's back?" "I saw him," Harry said coldly. "I watched him kill Cedric. I'm not here to convince anyone. You can leave if you don't believe me." No one moved. "Is it true," said Susan Bones, "you can cast a corporeal Patronus?" "Yes," Harry replied. "A stag." Whispers of wow and blimey rippled through the group. "And you killed a basilisk?" asked Terry Boot. "And saved the Sorcerer's Stone," Neville added proudly. Harry held up a hand. "Look, I didn't do all that alone. I had help. I'm not some hero." "But we want to learn from you," Cho said, smiling. Hermione cleared her throat. "So, how often should we meet? Once a week?" "Not when we've got Quidditch practice," Angelina said quickly. "And where?" Dean asked. "Somewhere private," said Hermione. "We'll let you know. Just one more thing. I think everyone should write their name down and agree to keep it secret." Fred signed without hesitation. Others followed, though Zacharias hesitated. "It's just a list," Hermione said sharply. "We need to know who's in." One by one, they all signed. Later, as the 3 of them stepped back into the winter sunlight, Hermione beamed. "That went well, didn't it?" Ron grumbled. "That Zacharias bloke's a wart. And what's this about Michael Corner dating Ginny?" Hermione smiled innocently. "They got together at the end of last year." Ron choked on his butterbeer. "She used to fancy Harry," he said. "She gave up on him months ago." Hermione said gently. Harry, cheeks warm, wasn't listening. Cho had waved goodbye. For the first time in weeks, Hogsmeade looked beautiful. Chapter 18, Dumbledore's Army. Rain beat against the windows as Harry, Ron, and Hermione whispered over croaking frogs in charms. Umbridge attacked Hedwig, Hermione said. She's reading your mail. Harry's hand tightened around his frog. She nearly caught Sirius. If she had, he'd be in Azkaban now, Hermione finished grimly. Later, Angelina appeared, soaked and grinning. Got permission to reform the Quidditch team. Practice tonight. During a soggy, miserable practice, Harry's scar seared with pain. Afterward, in the changing room, Ron asked, "Is it him?" Harry nodded. He's angry. Something he wants isn't happening fast enough. That night, Harry dozed in front of the fire, dreaming again of a door at the end of a corridor. He was nearly there when, "Harry Potter, sir." Dobby stood beside him, balancing a tower of Hermione's hats, with Hedwig perched on top. "She's well now," the elf squeaked. "Dobby brought her back." Harry stroked her feathers. "Thanks, Dobby." "Harry Potter does not seem happy," Dobby said gently. "Can Dobby help?" "I need a place where we can practice magic without being caught." Dobby's ears wiggled. Dobby knows the perfect place, the room of requirement. Harry's eyes widened. A room that appears when needed. This could work. The next night, Harry led the group to the 7th floor. They paced past the wall 3 times, thinking hard. A polished door appeared. Inside, the room was full of cushions, books, and magical instruments. "It's perfect," Hermione whispered, eyes shining. Soon, everyone arrived. "This is where we'll train," Harry said. "We'll call it Dumbledore's Army." They practiced Expelliarmus. Neville managed to disarm Harry and beamed. "I did it!" Harry encouraged the others as spells flew and wands clink. Later, as they left, Hermione smiled. "That was really good." Harry didn't answer. He was thinking about Cho's laugh and how she said he made her nervous. Chapter 19, The Lion and the Serpent. Harry felt like he was carrying fire in his chest. The secret of the DA gave him strength, even as Umbridge's lessons dragged on. Their meetings were unpredictable now. Hermione had enchanted fake galleons so they'd know when to meet. "When Harry sets the date, your coins will heat up and display the time," she explained. "Protean charm." "You can do that?" Terry Boot gasped. "That's any WT level." Hermione blushed. "Well, yes. Why aren't you in Ravenclaw?" The Sorting Hat thought about it, she said cheerfully, but picked Gryffindor. Quidditch took over everything. Practices intensified before the match against Slytherin, and McGonagall even excused homework. "I've grown used to seeing that cup in my office," she said grimly. Ron, though, was a mess. He couldn't handle the pressure or the Slytherin's taunts. Malfoy had silver badges made that read, "Weasley is our king," and they chanted the cruel lyrics day after day. On match day, Ron was pale and silent. At breakfast, he muttered, "I must have been mental to do this." "You're just nervous," Harry said. "I'm rubbish." "You're not. Remember that save the other day?" Ron whispered. "I slipped. It was an accident." Harry kept trying to lift his spirits, but nothing worked. Even Luna wore a roaring lion hat. "Good luck, Ronald," she beamed. On the pitch, the chants began. "Weasley cannot save a thing. Weasley is our king." Ron's confidence crumbled. Goal after goal slid past him. Harry couldn't focus. The taunts echoed in his ears, and even Malfoy joined in. But then Harry saw the snitch. He dived. Malfoy was right beside him. Inches from the ground, Harry stretched and closed his fingers around the fluttering gold. A cheer erupted. They had won. Then, wham! A bludger hit Harry in the back. As he hit the ground, Madame Hooch blew her whistle furiously. "That was Crabbe," Angelina cried. "But we won." Malfoy approached, sneering. "Saved Weasley's neck, did you? Thought we'd write another verse?" But couldn't find a rhyme for fat and ugly. "Your mother." Harry snapped. Without drawing his wand, he punched Malfoy hard in the stomach. George leapt in too. Only an impediment jig stopped them. "Up to McGonagall's office, now," barked Madam Hooch. Professor McGonagall was furious. "What were you thinking?" "He insulted our parents," George said. "You should have let Madam Hooch handle it." Then came the dreaded cough. Hem, hem. Umbridge entered, smiling sweetly. "I think a more serious punishment is in order." She read a new decree. As High Inquisitor, she could override House decisions. "I'm banning you both, permanently, and Fred too. Your brooms will be confiscated." When she left, silence fell. That night in the common room, Angelina sat hollow-eyed. "No Seeker, no beaters. What are we going to do?" Fred clenched his jaw. "Next time, I won't let them hold me back." Ron was nowhere to be seen. "He's avoiding us," Hermione said. But later, he stumbled in, pale, snow-dusted. "Sorry," he mumbled. "Don't be," Harry said. "I got banned. So did Fred and George." "What?" Ron looked stricken. "This is all my fault." "No, it's not," Harry said hotly. Ron stared into the fire. "Worst I've ever felt." "Join the club," Harry muttered. Hermione turned from the window, a smile breaking through. "I know something that might cheer you up." They looked at her warily. Hagrid's back. Chapter 20, Hagrid's Tale. Harry dashed up to get the invisibility cloak and Marauder's map. He and Ron were ready before Hermione reappeared, bundled in scarf, gloves, and one of her homemade elf hats. "It's cold," she huffed. Under the cloak, they crept through the castle and across the snowy grounds. At the sight of Hagrid's lit cabin, Harry's heart lifted. Smoke curled from the chimney, and Fang barked wildly as they knocked. "Hagrid, it's us!" Harry called. "Shoulda known," came Hagrid's gruff, pleased voice. When the door creaked open, Hermione let out a gasp. Hagrid's face was battered, one eye nearly swollen shut, his hair matted with blood. Cuts and bruises covered him. "What happened to you?" Harry demanded. "Told ya, it's nothin'," Hagrid said firmly, limping to the fire to boil tea. "Looks more like you've been trampled by trolls," Ron muttered. "I'm fine," Hagrid insisted, pressing a bloody hunk of dragon steak to his face. "Did the giants do this to you?" Hermione asked quietly. Hagrid fumbled the steak, then grunted. "Who said anything about giants?" "We guessed," said Hermione. Hagrid stared at them, then sighed. "You lot always knew too much." He finally admitted it. He'd been sent by Dumbledore to parley with the giants. "Olymp came with me. She's tough. Never complained once. The giants lived far off in the mountains. Took us a month to get there without magic. Ministry's been watching Dumbledore's friends. They found the giants, about 80 left, bunched in a valley. The Gurg carcass was the biggest, ugly as sin. We gave him a gift of Gubrathian fire. He seemed interested. They planned slow diplomacy, returned the next day with another gift. But overnight, there was a massive fight. Next morning, Carcass was dead. New Gurg, Golgamath, not friendly. They tried anyway. Gave him dragon skin. Next thing I know, his goons are hanging me upside down. Olympete blasted them, saved me. They went into hiding but stayed to try winning over the others, the outcasts hiding from Golgamath. Got 6 or 7 to listen. But then Golgamath's lot found them. No more help after that. And the Death Eaters came, Hagrid added darkly. Macnair, that maniac who tried to kill Buckbeak. They brought gifts. Gurg didn't hang them upside down. Did they recruit the giants? Harry asked. Some, maybe, but we planted Dumbledore's message. Could be some remember it. Hermione hesitated. Did you hear anything about your mother? Dead. Long time ago, Hagrid said shortly. wasn't much of a mum. The cabin fell quiet, snow swirling outside. Then came a sharp knock. "It's her," Ron breathed. Under the cloak, they darted to a corner. Umbridge stepped inside, eyes sweeping the cabin. "You're Hagrid," she said slowly, as though to a dim child. "And what's this mess?" "Fang broke a mug," Hagrid said stiffly. She examined his battered face. "What happened to you?" "Tripped over a broomstick," Hagrid muttered. "And where have you been all term?" "South of France," he lied. "For me health." "You don't look well." Her smile was poisonous. "I'll be inspecting your classes. The ministry's determined to weed out unsatisfactory teachers." When she left, Hagrid growled, "Inspectin'? Blimey, Hagrid," Hermione said gently. "Please, show her simple creatures. Porlocks, gnarls. If she thinks you're too close to Dumbledore—" "I've got great stuff planned," Hagrid beamed, slapping the stake back to his face. "You'll love it. Something special." Hermione looked horrified. "She'll sack you." "Let her try," Hagrid said, yawning. "Now go on, back to the castle." As they left under the cloak, Ron muttered, "I don't think he gets it." "Then I'll go back tomorrow," said Hermione fiercely. "I'll plan his lessons myself if I have to." She's not getting rid of Hagrid. Chapter 21. The Eye of the Snake. Hermione trudged alone through deep snow to visit Hagrid. Harry and Ron stayed behind, buried in homework. Fred and George caused mayhem with bewitched snowballs. Hermione returned, chilled and troubled. "He wasn't there at first," she told Harry and Ron. "Then he came out of the forest, bruised and battered. He won't say what happened. He's planning lessons with dangerous creatures again." At breakfast the next morning, reactions to Hagrid's return were mixed. Harry knew some students preferred Grubbly Plank's safer classes. Still, they trudged down to Hagrid's class in the snow, apprehensive. Hagrid stood at the forest's edge, carrying half a dead cow. "We're working in here today," he beamed. Malfoy, uneasy. "What prefers the dark?" Hagrid led them into the forest. Deep among the trees, he set the cow down and gave a strange, shrieking call. Moments later, black, skeletal, winged horses appeared. "Thestrals," Hagrid announced proudly. Harry was relieved. He wasn't the only one who saw them. Only a few others, like Neville and a Slytherin boy, could see them too. "Why can some of us see them and others can't?" asked Parvati. Hermione answered, "You have to have seen death." Umbridge arrived mid-lesson, clipboard in hand, speaking to Hagrid like he was dim. "What are these creatures?" "Thestrals, winged horses, you know," Hagrid said. "Has to resort to crude sign language," Umbridge muttered as she wrote. The class watched tensely as Umbridge questioned students. "Do you understand, Hagrid?" she asked Pansy. "Not really," Pansy giggled. She interrogated Neville. "Whom did you see die?" "My granddad," he replied. Despite Hagrid's attempts to continue, she scribbled notes with clear bias. After class, Hermione seethed. She's trying to paint Hagrid as stupid because he's half giant. That wasn't a bad lesson at all. Later, Harry learned Ginny replaced him as Seeker. Angelina seemed bitter. He stayed quiet, stung by the change. At the final DA meeting before break, Harry praised the group's progress. "When we return, we can try Patronuses." The group left cheerfully. Cho stayed behind. Tears filled her eyes. "I wonder, if Cedric had known all this, maybe he'd still be alive," she said. Harry replied, "He did know. Voldemort was just too powerful." Cho leaned in. "I really like you, Harry." She kissed him under the mistletoe. He returned to the common room in a daze. "Did you kiss?" Hermione asked bluntly. Harry nodded. Ron roared with laughter. "Was it good?" "Wet," said Harry. Hermione explained Cho's turmoil, grief, guilt, confusion. One person can't feel all that, Ron scoffed. Just because you have the emotional range of a teaspoon, Hermione snapped. That night, Harry had a nightmare. He was a snake, slithering through a corridor, attacking a man, Mr. Weasley. He woke up screaming, "Your dad's been attacked. Bitten. There was blood everywhere." McGonagall arrived. "What happened, Potter? It wasn't a dream. I saw it. I was the snake. I attacked him." The room fell into stunned silence as the pain in Harry's scar throbbed. Chapter 22. St. Mungo's Hospital for Magical Maladies and Injuries. Harry woke in a panic, convinced he had attacked Mr. Weasley in his sleep. Professor McGonagall escorted him and Ron to Dumbledore, who took his account seriously, but curiously asked, "Were you looking from above or as the snake?" "I was the snake," Harry admitted, horrified. Dumbledore acted swiftly, sending portraits to spy on hospitals. A magical device confirmed something unsettling. "In essence divided," Dumbledore murmured, watching twin serpents rise from smoke. Soon, confirmation came. Mr. Weasley had been found bleeding and was taken to St. Mungo's. The Weasley children were woken, and a portkey whisked them to Grimmauld Place. Sirius greeted them. "Ask Harry," Fred demanded. Harry gave a careful account, omitting that he'd been the snake. Fred, George, and Ginny stared at him. Sirius urged caution. "You can't go to the hospital yet. You knowing so quickly looks suspicious. The order could be compromised." The Weasleys protested, but Sirius remained firm. They drank butterbeer in tense silence, guilt churning in Harry's gut. A burst of fire heralded a message from Mrs. Weasley. "Still alive. We'll send news." Hours crawled by until dawn, when Mrs. Weasley arrived. "He's going to be all right." Joy and relief spread. Sirius called for breakfast. Mrs. Weasley embraced Harry. "If it hadn't been for you." Later, Harry pulled Sirius aside. "In Dumbledore's office, I wanted to attack him. It was like something rose inside me." "You're in shock," Sirius said gently. "You saved Arthur. That's what matters." Everyone slept except Harry. Fear of what he might become kept him awake. Later, they dressed in Muggle clothes and traveled with Tonks and Moody to St. Mungo's. Inside, the chaotic reception buzzed with strange injuries and magical ailments. At last, they reached the Di Llewellyn ward. Mr. Weasley greeted them cheerfully. "I'm fine, just have to keep drinking blood-replenishing potion." They settled around his bed. Mr. Weasley, bandaged but in good spirits, pointed out the other patients, a werewolf-bitten man, a woman hiding the cause of her wound. "So, tell us what happened, Dad," Fred said. "Dozed off, got bitten," Mr. Weasley shrugged, with a glance at Harry. The family lingered, relieved. Mr. Weasley would recover. But Harry couldn't shake the feeling. Something dark inside him had stirred. Something he feared was not entirely his own. Chapter 23. Christmas on the Closed Ward. Haunted by his vision, Harry feared he was being used by Voldemort as a weapon. He withdrew from everyone at Grimmauld Place, convinced he was dangerous. Mrs. Weasley fussed over him. "You look pale. Go to bed, dear." He did, eager to be alone. Pacing, his thoughts spiraled. If Voldemort's inside me, he's seeing the Order headquarters. Determined to leave, Harry packed, but Phineas Nigellus interrupted. "Running away, are we?" "Not for myself. To protect others." "Dumbledore says stay where you are," the portrait relayed. Harry exploded. "Why doesn't he talk to me? Why am I always kept in the dark?" Phineas rebuked him. You assume you alone understand the danger. Perhaps Dumbledore has reasons you can't grasp." Harry dropped onto the bed, exhausted. He fell asleep and dreamed of walking a corridor to a black door, desperate to enter. Ron woke him. "Mum saved you dinner." Harry stayed in bed. "They all think I'm dangerous now," he brooded. Hermione arrived, snow-dusted. "I came for Christmas. Skiing's not my thing." She led him to the bedroom where Ron and Ginny waited. "You've been hiding," Ginny said bluntly. Harry lashed out, but Ginny confronted him. "You forget I've been possessed by Voldemort. You haven't. Trust me, you'd know." Hermione added, "You were dreaming. You never left the bed. Voldemort can't just transport you." Relief washed over Harry. Maybe I'm not the weapon. He joined the laughter and singing. Sirius, delighted with the full house, sang carols and helped decorate. Christmas Eve brought magical cheer to the gloomy house. Christmas morning, presents were exchanged. Harry received books, sweets, a fanged wallet from Hagrid, and a miniature firebolt from Tonks. Fred and George warned, "Don't go down yet. Mom's crying." Percy sent back his jumper. Hermione gave Creature a quilt. "Not clothes, just something to brighten his den," she said. In the kitchen, they found Creature's nest under the boiler. Amid junk, a picture of Bellatrix Lestrange sat in a place of honor. Later, the group visited Mr. Weasley at St. Mungo's. He beamed, though Mrs. Weasley scolded him for letting a trainee healer stitch his wounds like a muggle. On their way to tea, they encountered Gilderoy Lockhart, still memory-addled, signing autographs. A healer led them to the Janus Thicky ward. Inside, they found permanent spell damage patients. At the far end, a curtain was drawn around two beds. Suddenly, "Neville!" Ron called. Neville turned, pale. His grandmother approached proudly. "My son and his wife were tortured into insanity by Death Eaters. Neville should be proud." Neville's mother shuffled forward and gave him an empty gum wrapper. "Thanks, Mum," Neville said softly. They left in silence, Harry deeply moved. He kept the wrapper, Harry noted, his heart heavy with newfound understanding of Neville's quiet strength. Chapter 24, Occlumency. Harry returned to Grimmauld Place troubled. Creature reappeared, oddly docile. Sirius grew more sullen as the holiday ended. When Mrs. Weasley called Harry down to see Snape, everyone was stunned. "Professor Snape, dear," she corrected, leading Harry to the kitchen, where Snape and Sirius glared at each other across the table. Snape delivered Dumbledore's orders. "You are to take occlumency lessons, the magical defense of the mind." Harry blanched. "With you?" "Yes," Snape confirmed, clearly pleased with Harry's discomfort. Sirius argued, but Snape remained calm. "Dumbledore wishes it. You start Monday. Tell no one, especially not Umbridge." Tension flared. Wands were drawn until the Weasleys entered, breaking the standoff. Mr. Weasley beamed. "Cured. Completely cured." Afterward, Sirius gave Harry a package secretly. "Use this if Snape gives you trouble, but only if you must." Harry returned to school on the night bus, trying to warn Sirius to be cautious, but never found the words. At Hogwarts, Harry dreaded the first occlumency lesson. When it came, Snape explained, "Legilimency is the ability to read minds. The Dark Lord may be invading yours. You must learn to close your mind." "Why now?" Harry asked. "It helped when I saw Mr. Weasley being attacked," Snape replied. "He was unaware of the connection. Now he knows. He could invade you, manipulate you." Snape removed memories into a pensieve before they began. "Disarm or defend yourself. I will attempt to break into your mind." Legilimens. Memories surged. Dementors. Cho under mistletoe. Cedric dead. Pain. Harry collapsed. You let me in too far, Snape said, coldly. More attempts followed. Snape berated Harry. You must master yourself. Empty your mind. Finally, Harry had a breakthrough. A memory returned. A corridor at the ministry. The locked door he'd seen in dreams was real. What's in the Department of Mysteries? Harry asked. Snape stiffened. It is no concern of yours. Return Wednesday. Clear your mind before sleep. Harry rushed to Ron and Hermione. The weapon Voldemort wants, it's in the Department of Mysteries, he whispered. Hermione gasped. Of course, Sturgis Podmore tried to break in there. It all connects. Harry clutched his aching scar, a storm of worry in his chest. The path to understanding Voldemort's plan had just begun. Chapter 25, The Beetle at Bay. The next morning, Hermione shrieked over the Daily Prophet. 10 Death Eaters had escaped from Azkaban, including Bellatrix Lestrange. The article blamed Sirius Black for aiding the breakout. That's ridiculous, Harry exploded. Fudge is blaming Sirius? What choice does he have? Hermione snapped. He can't admit the Dementors joined Voldemort. The prophet also reported Broderick Bode's death, strangled by a devil's snare at St. Mungo's. Hermione recalled seeing the plant arrive as a Christmas gift. This was murder, she said. Someone sent it to silence him. He was an unspeakable. The school buzzed with rumors about the breakout. Hagrid, now on probation, appeared more bruised and distant than ever. If she catches ya visiting, it'll be our necks, he warned. Meanwhile, Educational Decree 26 forbade teachers from sharing non-curricular information. Umbridge increased her scrutiny, especially on Trelawney and Hagrid. DA meetings became Harry's outlet. Neville, transformed by his encounter at St. Mungo's and the escape of his parents' torturers, trained with grim determination. He's improving faster than anyone, Harry observed, awed. But occlumency lessons with Snape were going poorly. Harry's scar hurt more frequently, and his dreams of the Black Door in the Department of Mysteries intensified. Snape's making it worse, Harry complained. Ron muttered, Maybe he's trying to open your mind, not close it. Hermione bristled. Dumbledore trusts him. That should be enough. February arrived, and Harry was set to visit Hogsmeade with Cho. Their date at Madame Puddifoot's was a disaster. Talk of Cedric led to tears and confusion. Why talk about him now? Harry wondered as she stormed out. He found Hagrid in the 3 broomsticks, battered and withdrawn. We're in the same boat, you and me, Hagrid muttered. Outsiders. Harry watched him leave, heavy-hearted. Soon after, Hermione waved Harry over to her table, where she sat with Luna Lovegood and Rita Skeeter. I want you to tell your story, Hermione said. All the facts. Voldemort's return. The Death Eaters. Everything. Rita scoffed. The prophet won't touch it. Then we'll publish it in the Quibbler. Hermione declared. Rita blinked, then leaned forward, intrigued. You'll have your interview, Hermione said, eyes blazing. The truth will come out, with or without Fudge's approval. Chapter 26. Seen and Unforeseen. Luna hinted the Quibbler might delay Harry's interview in favor of articles on crumple-horned snorkax. But Harry had poured his soul into telling Rita everything about Voldemort's return. At dinner, Dean said, Can't wait to see what Umbridge thinks. It must have been hard, Neville added. Yeah, Harry muttered. But people need to know. He recounted his disastrous date with Cho to Hermione, who sighed. You shouldn't have told her you were meeting me. You told me to. Not like that, she replied, then laughed when he said, I don't think you're ugly. After Quidditch practice, Ron looked crushed. Fred said, "They're rubbish without us." "Ginny's not bad, though." Hermione revealed, "She's been sneaking your brooms since age 6. The match was awful. Ron missed countless goals, but Ginny caught the snitch, narrowing their loss. "Once you're back, I'll try Chaser," she told Harry. The next morning, owls flooded Harry with letters. Hermione pulled one out, The Quibbler, featuring Harry's interview. Umbridge confronted him. "Why did you do this? 50 points and another week's detention. No more Hogsmeade." Soon, signs banned The Quibbler. Hermione beamed. "Now everyone will read it." Students whispered quotes from it in class and corridors. Professors subtly supported him. Even Cho forgave him with a kiss. Seamus approached. "I believe you now. I sent a copy to my mum." Malfoy and his gang glared but couldn't refute the article without revealing they'd read it. That night, Harry was a hero in the common room. Fred and George enchanted the Quibbler cover to shout rebellious slogans. Eventually, Harry left early, scar prickling. He dreamed again, but as Voldemort. In a dark room, he spoke to Rookwood, who revealed Bode couldn't retrieve the weapon due to magical protections. Voldemort ordered Avery punished and began a new plan. Harry woke screaming, "Ron, help!" The next morning, owls flooded Harry with letters. Hermione pulled one out, The Quibbler, featuring Harry's interview. Umbridge confronted him. "Why did you do this? 50 points and another week's detention. No more Hogsmeade." Soon, signs banned The Quibbler. Hermione beamed. "Now everyone will read it." Students whispered quotes from it in class and corridors. Professors subtly supported him. Even Cho forgave him with a kiss. Seamus approached. "I believe you now. I sent a copy to my mum." Malfoy and his gang glared but couldn't refute the article, without revealing they'd read it. That night, Harry was a hero in the common room. Fred and George enchanted the Quibbler cover to shout rebellious slogans. Eventually, Harry left early, scar prickling. He dreamed again, but as Voldemort. In a dark room, he spoke to Rookwood, who revealed Bode couldn't retrieve the weapon due to magical protections. Voldemort ordered Avery punished and began a new plan. Harry woke screaming. Ron helped him. "Was it your dad again?" "No, I was Voldemort. He's back on track. The weapon, it must be in the Department of Mysteries." The next morning, Harry told Hermione. She pieced together the pattern. Bode had been cursed and killed before he could talk. Sturgis Podmore had been cursed too. Lucius Malfoy must have done it, she said. Hermione was stern. "You need to work harder at occlumency. You shouldn't be seeing this at all." But the visions wouldn't stop. In Snape's lessons, Harry failed again and again. One session, he fought back with a shield charm and glimpsed Snape's own painful childhood memories. Snape snarled, "You're not special or important. It's not up to you to know the Dark Lord's plans." Later, during another session, Harry finally broke through the black door in his dreams. He entered the circular room of the Department of Mysteries, dozens of doors around him. Snape shook him awake furiously. "You are lazy and sloppy. The Dunk Lord. Why do you call him that? Only Death Eaters do." Snape's reply was cut off by a scream. They rushed upstairs to find Trelawney in hysterics. Umbridge had sacked her. McGonagall comforted her. But suddenly, Dumbledore appeared. "You can't sack her from her home," he said. "She stays in the castle." Umbridge argued. "The Ministry has appointed a new divination teacher." "Indeed," Dumbledore said mildly. A massive centaur entered. "Ferenzi," Dumbledore introduced. "He will teach divination." The students were stunned. Umbridge turned pale. Dumbledore met Harry's eyes briefly, then disappeared without a word. Chapter 27. The Centaur and the Sneak. The class filed into a transformed divination classroom, a forest clearing under starlight, created for Firenze the Centaur. "I cannot return to the forest," he said solemnly. "My herd has banished me." Firenze taught not fortune-telling, but celestial omens of great change. Mars burned bright. "We are between two wars," he said. After class, Firenze stopped Harry. "Warn Hagrid. His attempt is not working. He must stop." Harry passed the message. Hagrid, black-eyed and stubborn, replied, "He doesn't understand. It's coming along fine." Stress from looming OWLs mounted. Hannah Abbott had a breakdown in herbology. The DA remained a source of strength. Patronus practice began. "Pretty," Cho smiled at her swan. "They're for protection," Harry reminded her. Hermione's otter twirled as Seamus shouted, "I think I did it! It was Harry!" Suddenly, the door opened. Dobby appeared, terrified. "She's coming," he cried. "Harry Potter, sir, they know about the DA!" Harry yelled. "Run!" Students scattered. Harry scooped Dobby and fled, but Malfoy tripped him. "Got one!" he shouted. Umbridge arrived, beaming. 50 points to Slytherin! To the headmaster's office, Potter!" The office brimmed with officials. Dumbledore, McGonagall, Fudge, Umbridge, Kingsley, and Percy. "You know why you're here?" Fudge asked. "No," Harry lied. Dumbledore gave a faint nod. Marietta, Cho's friend, was dragged in, her face red. "Sneak. She told us about the meeting," Umbridge smiled. But Marietta wouldn't speak. She only shook her head. "Dumbledore's army," Umbridge said, holding up a parchment. Dumbledore calmly confessed, "Yes, I organized it." Fudge leapt with joy. You've been plotting against me?" "Correct," Dumbledore said mildly. He claimed full responsibility to protect the students. Fudge declared, "You'll be sent to Azkaban." Dumbledore only smiled. "I'm not going quietly. I have no intention of going at all." In a blur of spells and fire, he knocked everyone unconscious. To Harry, he said urgently, "Study occlumency. Close your mind." As he touched Harry's arm, a scar seared, a vicious reptilian hatred rising within. "Close your mind," Dumbledore whispered again. With Fawkes, he vanished in flame. Fudge rose dazed. Where is he? McGonagall led Harry out silently. Dumbledore was gone, but not defeated. Chapter 28. Snape's Worst Memory. With Dumbledore gone, Umbridge was appointed headmistress by decree. She formed the Inquisitorial Squad, giving students like Malfoy authority to dock points and enforce ministry rules. Fred and George, furious, unleashed chaos across the school. They set off magical fireworks that couldn't be extinguished. Professors, except Umbridge, seemed amused. McGonagall even encouraged the disruptions subtly. Harry, summoned by Umbridge, was questioned about Dumbledore and Sirius. She tried to get him to drink Truth Potion, but he pretended to sip. He denied knowing either man's location. When a loud explosion distracted her, Harry dumped the drink and left. Fireworks filled the halls. Fred and George had launched Weasley's wildfire whiz-bangs, uncontainable pyrotechnics that turned the school into a festival of rebellion. Umbridge spent the day chasing sparks and fury. That night, Harry dreamed again of the Department of Mysteries, getting deeper into its chambers. He awoke frustrated, knowing occlumency was failing. The next day, Cho tried to apologize for Marietta's betrayal. Harry, still angry, argued with her. Their relationship ended in cold tension. At his occlumency lesson, Harry lied about practicing. Snape, preparing the pensieve, was called away. Left alone, Harry approached the swirling memories, curiosity overwhelming him. He leaned in and fell into Snape's past. He landed in the Great Hall during Snape's OWL exams. Teen Snape, pale and greasy-haired, scribbled furiously. Nearby, James Potter and his friends sat, Sirius, Lupin, and Wormtail. Harry saw his father clearly for the first time, confident, cocky, and adored. After the exam, James and Sirius spotted Snape and began to torment him. They jinxed him publicly, humiliated him, and laughed. Snape lay helpless, covered in soap. Lily Evans intervened. Furious. "You're just an arrogant, bullying toe-rag, Potter," James smirked. "Go out with me, Evans, and I'll leave him alone." "I'd rather date the giant squid," Lily snapped. Snape, furious and humiliated, cursed James and ended up suspended in the air, robes flying. Harry watched, stunned. This was his father? Snape returned to find Harry stunned, still at the pensieve. "Get out!" Snape roared, eyes blazing. "Never come back." Shoved from the room, Harry fled, sick with shame and confusion. The image of his father's cruelty burned in his mind, shattering his ideal of James Potter. Chapter 29, Career Advice. Hermione frowned. "Why aren't you doing occlumency anymore?" "Snape thinks I can manage on my own now," Harry muttered. "But you're still having dreams, aren't you?" "Not really," Harry lied, avoiding her eyes. Easter holidays meant Hermione crafting study schedules for them. Ron groaned. "Only 6 weeks until exams?" He brightened. "Hey, I have a night off each week." "That's for Quidditch," Hermione said. Ron's smile faded. Harry remained distant, still haunted by the pensive memory of his father bullying Snape. He questioned everything he'd believed about James Potter. Ginny joined him one evening. "A package came. Mum's Easter eggs. One's for you." Harry blinked, a lump forming in his throat. "Thanks," she asked softly. "Are you okay?" "I want to talk to Sirius, but I can't." "We might think of a way," Ginny said. "Fred and George know tricks." Inspired, Harry planned to use Umbridge's fireplace. Fred and George agreed to create a diversion. Next day, despite Hermione's protests, Harry entered Umbridge's office under his invisibility cloak. He unlocked the door with Sirius's knife and used her fire to call Grimmauld Place. Lupin appeared. "I needed to know the truth." Sirius admitted, "We were arrogant at 15. James grew out of it. He was a good person, Harry. But he hexed Snape just for existing." "He changed," Lupin said. "By 7th year, he and your mum were together." Harry wasn't satisfied, but began to understand. Then he confessed, "Snape said he'd never teach me occlumency again." Sirius swore. Lupin urged, "Tell him Dumbledore insists. This is too important." Before Harry could argue, footsteps approached. He ended the call and hid just in time for Filch to enter and grab an approval for whipping form gleefully. Harry escaped and returned to the entrance hall where Fred and George were caught by Umbridge. "You think it amusing to turn a corridor into a swamp?" she shrieked. "Pretty amusing, yeah," Fred said calmly. "Time we tested our talents elsewhere," said George. With summoned brooms, they flew out in style, calling, "Come to Weasley's Wizard Wheezes for portable swamps." The crowd cheered. Even Peeves saluted. Harry, heart-pounding, knew the rebellion had begun. Chapter 29, Career Advice. Hermione frowned. "Why aren't you doing occlumency anymore?" "Snape thinks I can manage on my own now," Harry muttered. "But you're still having dreams, aren't you?" "Not really," Harry lied, avoiding her eyes. Easter holidays meant Hermione crafting study schedules for them. Ron groaned. Only 6 weeks until exams? He brightened. Hey, I have a night off each week. That's for Quidditch, Hermione said. Ron's smile faded. Harry remained distant, still haunted by the pensive memory of his father bullying Snape. He questioned everything he'd believed about James Potter. Ginny joined him one evening. A package came. Mum's Easter eggs, one's for you. Harry blinked, a lump forming in his throat. Thanks, she asked softly. Are you okay? I want to talk to Sirius, but I can't. We might think of a way, Ginny said. Fred and George know tricks. Inspired, Harry planned to use Umbridge's fireplace. Fred and George agreed to create a diversion. Next day, despite Hermione's protests, Harry entered Umbridge's office under his invisibility cloak. He unlocked the door with Sirius's knife and used her fire to call Grimmauld Place. Lupin appeared, surprised. Harry? I want to talk to Sirius, Harry said. Sirius arrived quickly. What is it? Are you in danger? No, I saw Dad bully Snape in the pensieve. I needed to know the truth. Sirius admitted, we were arrogant at 15. James grew out of it. He was a good person, Harry. But he hexed Snape just for existing. He changed, Lupin said. By 7th year, he and your mum were together. Harry wasn't satisfied, but began to understand. Then he confessed. Snape said he'd never teach me occlumency again. Sirius swore. Lupin urged, tell him Dumbledore insists. This is too important. Before Harry could argue, footsteps approached. He ended the call and hid just in time for Filch to enter and grab an approval for whipping form gleefully. Harry escaped and returned to the entrance hall where Fred and George were caught by Umbridge. You think it amusing to turn a corridor into a swamp? She shrieked. Pretty amusing, yeah. Fred said calmly. Time we tested our talents elsewhere, said George. With summoned brooms they flew out in style, calling, Come to Weasley's Wizard Wheezes for portable swamps. The crowd cheered. Even Peeves saluted. Harry, heart pounding, knew the rebellion had begun. Chapter 31, OWLs. Ron was still basking in Gryffindor's Quidditch Cup win, regaling Harry and Hermione with exaggerated tales of his saves. They struggled to bring up Grop. Finally, under the beech tree by the lake, Harry told him about Hagrid's half-giant brother. He brought one back and hid it in the forest? Ron said, aghast. Hermione added, Grop's 16 feet tall and calls me Hermy. Ron declared, he's lost his mind. But they had promised Hagrid to help. Soon, exams consumed everything. The castle sparkled under a warm June sun, but fifth years felt only pressure. Hermione stopped mentioning occlumency. Snape never resumed the lessons. Ernie Macmillan bragged about studying 8 hours a day. Malfoy boasted that his father knew the examiners. Neville looked miserable. My Gran's always saying I'm not as good as my dad. A black market of potions and elixirs bloomed. Hermione confiscated Baruffio's brain elixir and powdered dragon claw. OWL schedules arrived. McGonagall warned them, cheating will be punished severely. Charn's theory was first. Harry recalled a flying club and smiled as he scribbled. In the practical, he performed a Patronus in front of Umbridge. A silver stag galloped through the hall. Transfiguration and herbology followed. Defense against the dark arts went especially well. Professor Tofty praised Harry's boggart banishing spell. On Friday, with no exams, Harry and Ron relaxed while Hermione sulked over a single rune error. A Niffler attacked Umbridge again, and Hermione worried she'd blame Hagrid. Monday brought potions. With Snape absent, Harry felt more confident. He botched the growth charm but avoided a fail. Care of magical creatures required identifying a gnarl, handling a bowtruckle, and feeding a fire crab. Harry did well. Astronomy came next. That night, they climbed the tower under a clear sky. As Harry charted stars, he saw figures sneaking to Hagrid's hut. Then spells flew. Hagrid roared, "Ye won't take me like this!" Fang was stunned. Hagrid threw off attackers. McGonagall arrived, yelling, "Leave him alone!" 4 stunners hit her. She collapsed. Hagrid, roaring in fury, flung more Ministry wizards aside, grabbed Fang, and fled into the night. Students were shocked. "She was trying to protect him," Hermione cried. Back in the common room, everyone buzzed with theories. Hermione said bitterly, "Umbridge always hated part humans." Harry was furious. He fell asleep plotting revenge. History of Magic the next day was a blur. Harry forgot facts, skipped questions, and struggled to concentrate. His brain felt like it was stuffed with fog. But then came a vision, a real one. A hallway, a door. Sirius, trapped. Harry gasped. The exam forgotten, he leapt to his feet, heart racing. Sirius was in danger. Chapter 32, Out of the Fire. Harry, shaken by the vision of Sirius in pain, fled the exam, ignoring Professor Tofty's concern. He rushed to McGonagall's office, only to learn she'd been sent to St. Mungo's. Panicked, Harry found Ron and Hermione. "Voldemort's got Sirius. I saw it. Department of Mysteries. He's torturing him." Back in the common room, everyone buzzed with theories. Hermione said bitterly, "Umbridge always hated part humans." Harry was furious. He fell asleep, plotting revenge. History of Magic the next day was a blur. Harry forgot facts, skipped questions, and struggled to concentrate. His brain felt like it was stuffed with fog. But then came a vision, a real one, a hallway, a door. Sirius trapped. Harry gasped. The exam forgotten, he leapt to his feet, heart racing. Sirius was in danger. Chapter 32, Out of the Fire. Harry, shaken by the vision of Sirius in pain, fled the exam, ignoring Professor Tofty's concern. He rushed to McGonagall's office, only to learn she'd been sent to St. Mungo's. Panicked, Harry found Ron and Hermione. "Voldemort's got Sirius. I saw it. Department of Mysteries. He's torturing him." Hermione hesitated. But how would Voldemort and Sirius get into the Ministry in daylight? Isn't it possible it's a trap? Harry exploded. "You think I'm making it up?" She answered gently. "He knows you. He's using your instinct to save people. He did the same with Ginny." Still, Harry insisted. They had to go. Finally, Hermione suggested verifying Sirius's location via Umbridge's fireplace. They formed a plan. Ron would lure Umbridge away. Ginny and Luna would guard the corridor. And Harry and Hermione would use the invisibility cloak to enter the office. Harry Flew called Grimmauld Place. Creature answered, delighting in Sirius's absence. "Master won't come back from the Department of Mysteries." Just then, Umbridge yanked Harry from the fire. She'd set up anti-intruder spells. The inquisitorial squad brought in Ron, Ginny, Luna, Neville, and Hermione. Umbridge demanded answers. "Snape we summoned for Veritaserum." Harry tried to silently warn him. "He's got Padfoot at the place where it's hidden," Harry shouted. Snape's face revealed nothing. He left. Umbridge turned to Cruciatus. "I'll make you talk. The minister will understand." Hermione shrieked, pretending to crack. "All right, we were building a weapon for Dumbledore. It's finished. We'll show you." Umbridge, thrilled, ordered Harry and Hermione to take her to it alone. They left the others behind. Hermione, with tearless sobs and wild claims, led Umbridge straight into a trap. Chapter 33, Fight and Flight. Harry followed Hermione out of the castle, Umbridge close behind. "It's hidden in the forest," Hermione said. Umbridge grew more excited. They plunged into the trees. Harry whispered, "Is this the path to Grop?" "Just follow my lead," Hermione muttered. Umbridge, growing nervous, demanded they walk ahead of her. Deep in the forest, hooves thundered. 50 centaurs surrounded them. Megorian stepped forward. "Who are you?" "Dolores Umbridge, Senior Undersecretary," she shrieked. "By ministry law." "Near human intelligence?" roared Bane. The centaurs grew angry. Umbridge cast Incarcerus on Megorian. The herd charged. Umbridge screamed. Harry and Hermione dropped flat. When Harry looked up, Bane was dragging her off. Her screams faded. Hermione begged, "Please don't hurt us." But her words angered them further. "You used us to do your bidding." Just as things turned dangerous, trees crashed aside. Grop appeared, calling, "Hermy, Hagger." He spotted them and reached out. Arrows flew. Grop roared, stamped, and fled, scattering the centaurs. "He might kill them," Hermione gasped. "Not fussed," Harry muttered. They were wandless, stuck in the forest. Harry snapped, "Brilliant plan." Suddenly, Ron appeared with Ginny, Luna, and Neville. Ron handed back their wands. "We saw you head into the forest. What happened to Umbridge?" "Carried off by centaurs," Harry said. Then Grop showed up. Harry explained Sirius was in danger. The others insisted on coming. "We were all in the DA together," said Neville. Luna suggested Thestrals. 2 appeared. "There'll be more. You're covered in blood." Sure enough, 6 more Thestrals arrived. Harry, out of excuses, growled. "Fine, pick one and get on." The rescue mission had begun. Chapter 34. The Department of Mysteries. Harry gripped the Thestral's mane and launched himself onto its back. The creature didn't mind, but bared its fangs and flapped its wings. He settled his knees into position and looked back. Neville was clambering aboard another Thestral. Luna already sat serenely side saddle. But Ron, Hermione, and Ginny stood uncertain. "How do we get on if we can't see them?" Ron asked. Luna gently guided them. Soon, all were mounted and clinging tight. "Ministry of Magic, Visitors' Entrance, London," Harry murmured. With a jolt, the Thestrals rose into the blood-red sunset. Wind lashed Harry's face as they soared across the countryside. Hours later, they landed in a London alley. Ron collapsed off his mount. "Never again," he groaned. Harry led them to the red phone booth. Inside, Ron dialed 62442. Badges labeled Rescue Mission appeared. They descended to the atrium, now dim and silent. Past the golden fountain and the empty security desk, they took the lift to level 9. The black door awaited them. "Let's go," Harry said. They entered a circular room with identical black doors and eerie blue candles. The walls spun suddenly, scrambling their sense of direction. Hermione marked their entry with a fiery X. They tried door after door. A tank full of floating brains. A sunken amphitheater with a whispering veil. "I hear them," Harry whispered. Luna nodded. "There are people in there." Hermione pulled them away, frightened. Another door brought them to a room full of ticking clocks and a glass bell jar containing a bird constantly hatching and reversing. Beyond it lay the Hall of Prophecy, towering shelves of glowing orbs. "Row 97, Hermione reminded. They crept along the aisles. Harry's heart pounded. No sign of Sirius. He ran aisle after aisle. Nothing. "Harry," Hermione said gently, "I don't think he's here." Staggering, ashamed, Harry found Ron staring at an orb labeled SPT to APWBD, Dark Lord and something file. It has your name, Ron said. Despite warnings, Harry took it. A voice behind them drawled, "Very good, Potter. Now turn around, nice and slowly, and give that to me." Chapter 35. Beyond the Veil. Lucius Malfoy and a dozen Death Eaters surrounded Harry and his friends. Malfoy demanded the prophecy. Harry, holding the orb tight, asked where Sirius was. Bellatrix Lestrange mocked him. Panic rose in Harry's chest. "Give me the prophecy, Potter," Malfoy repeated, "or we start using wands." Harry raised his. His friends followed. "Go on then," he dared. They didn't strike. They needed the prophecy intact. Bellatrix lunged. "Accio prophecy. Protego!" Harry blocked it, barely clinging to the orb. Malfoy shouted, "No, don't smash it." Harry realized the prophecy's value and bluffed. "You'll have to break it to hurt us. Voldemort won't like that." As Bellatrix raged, Harry whispered to Hermione, "Smash the shelves when I say go." Malfoy taunted, "Only those named in a prophecy can retrieve it. That's why the Dark Lord sent you." "Now!" 5 voices shouted, "Reducto." Shelves exploded, orbs shattered. Ghostly figures spilled into the air. Chaos erupted. They fled through a rain of glass. Splitting up, Ron, Ginny, and Luna vanished. Harry, Hermione, and Neville were cornered again. They stunned 2 Death Eaters, but Dolohov cursed Hermione. She collapsed, motionless. Neville tried to fight, but had his nose broken and wand destroyed. Harry stunned Dolohov and checked Hermione's pulse. She was alive. They dragged her into the spinning corridor, meeting up with Ginny, Ron, and Luna, all injured. They tried to escape, but were pursued by Bellatrix and more Death Eaters. Luna fell. Ron was trapped by a brain's tentacles. Ginny was knocked unconscious. Only Harry and Neville remained fighting. In desperation, Harry ran, leading the Death Eaters away. He fell into the stone amphitheater, the archway with the veil before him. Surrounded, he backed onto the dais. Malfoy demanded the prophecy. Neville arrived, defiant. "Don't give it to them," he roared, even as Bellatrix tortured him. Harry surrendered the prophecy, but just as Malfoy reached out, the Order of the Phoenix arrived. Sirius, Lupin, Tonks, Moody, and Kingsley joined the battle. In the duel, Sirius fought Bellatrix. Then a flash of green light. Sirius fell backward through the veil. Harry screamed. Remus held him back. "He's gone." Harry couldn't believe it. "Sirius!" Bellatrix fled. Harry pursued her alone, blind with rage. He caught her, shouted, "Crucio!" She screamed, but not in pain. "You need to mean it," she taunted. "He was your weakness. I killed Sirius." Voldemort appeared. Harry stood frozen. A voice boomed, "Stay where you are." Dumbledore had arrived. A duel unlike any Harry had seen began. Fire, water, snake, shield, each spell dazzling. But Voldemort vanished, entered Harry's mind. "You've lost everything. Let me end your pain." Harry's heart swelled with grief for Sirius, but love overwhelmed the pain. He defied Voldemort with the last of his will. Voldemort screamed and vanished as Fudge and Aurors arrived. They had seen him. Proof. Dumbledore stood tall. "He has returned." Fudge stared, aghast. The truth was undeniable. The war had begun. Chapter 36. The only one he ever feared. Harry fought Lupin, refusing to accept Sirius was gone. He screamed for him, sure he would reappear, but as he struggled, he realized Sirius had never made him wait before. If he wasn't returning now, he never would. Dumbledore bound the remaining Death Eaters. Moody tended to Tonks. Kingsley was dueling Bellatrix until she fled. Harry tore away from Lupin. She killed Sirius. I'll kill her. He chased Bellatrix through the department, dodging her curses, soaked by brain tank potion. He caught up with her in the atrium. I am here to avenge my cousin, he shouted. His crucio knocked her over but failed to cause pain. You have to mean it, Potter, she mocked. They fought through broken statues. She demanded the prophecy. Harry lied. It smashed. Voldemort knows. He's not happy with you. Suddenly, Voldemort appeared. You have irked me too often. Avada Kedavra. The golden wizard statue leapt between them. Dumbledore arrived. A duel of incredible power began. Water, fire, serpents, spells. Fawkes swallowed a killing curse and fell in flames. Dumbledore trapped Voldemort in a glassy cocoon. Voldemort vanished. Then he possessed Harry. Blinding agony. Kill me now, Dumbledore. Let me join Sirius. But as Harry filled with grief and love, Voldemort was expelled. Harry collapsed. Dumbledore helped him to his feet. The atrium was full. Fudge arrived, stunned. He saw Voldemort with his own eyes. Dumbledore turned a shattered statue head into a portkey. Send Umbridge away. Stop hunting Hagrid. You have 30 minutes of my time. Then I return to Hogwarts. He handed the portkey to Harry. 1, 2, 3. Harry vanished in a whirl of color and grief. Chapter 37. The Lost Prophecy. Harry arrived in Dumbledore's repaired office, guilt crashing down on him. It was his fault Sirius had died. His arrogance, his blind rush into the trap. Phineas Nigellus stirred in his portrait. Another message for my worthless great-great-grandson. Harry couldn't speak. The pain was too real. The fireplace flared. Dumbledore stepped through, gentle with Fawkes's tiny reborn form. Your friends will recover. Tonks may need time. Harry stared at the floor, unable to meet his eyes. I know how you're feeling, Dumbledore said softly. No, you don't, Harry snapped. Rage flared. He shouted, smashed delicate instruments, hurled words of grief. I don't care. I've had enough. You do care, Dumbledore said quietly. You care so much it hurts. Harry's fury roared again. You don't know what I've lost. Dumbledore remained still. I do. I have watched you lose more than anyone should. And I must now tell you the truth I've kept hidden. Harry fell silent. Dumbledore admitted fault. Sirius died because I didn't tell you the truth. I tried to protect you, and that was my mistake. He revealed Kreacher's betrayal, that Sirius had not told the elf to stay, and Kreacher had gone to Narcissa Malfoy. Voldemort had used Sirius to lure Harry. Dumbledore continued, his voice heavy with sorrow. Kreacher told Voldemort you loved Sirius like a father. Voldemort knew how to bait you. When Harry raged about Snape, Dumbledore defended him. He informed the Order as soon as he understood. He hated my dad. He did, and I asked too much of him, Harry seethed. But Sirius hated Kreacher. Why is that different? Indifference and neglect often hurt more than hatred, Dumbledore replied. Sirius deserved better. He did. I tried to keep him safe, and failed. Dumbledore finally revealed the truth. There was a prophecy, heard by me, made by Sybil Trelawney. He drew it from his memory. In her harsh voice, Trelawney said, The one with the power to vanquish the Dark Lord approaches. Born to those who have thrice defied him. Born as the 7th month dies. And the Dark Lord will mark him as his equal. Harry stared. It means me? Dumbledore nodded. Or Neville. But Voldemort chose you. He marked you. He might have been wrong. He chose the half-blood, like himself. He saw himself in you and gave you powers he didn't understand. Dumbledore explained, the prophecy was the weapon Voldemort sought, not a spell, but knowledge. The knowledge that one must kill the other. Either must die at the hand of the other, Dumbledore repeated, for neither can live while the other survives. Harry sat motionless. You are the one with the power to defeat him. Outside, the sun had risen. The world looked unchanged, but Harry's path had crystallized. There was no turning back now. He was the weapon. He would have to kill Voldemort or die trying. Chapter 38, The Second War Begins. Fudge finally confirmed what Harry and Dumbledore had said all year. Voldemort had returned. The Dementors had revolted. The Ministry, once in denial, was now scrambling to prepare. In the hospital wing, Harry sat beside Ron's bed as Hermione read the article aloud. Ginny lounged at Hermione's feet. Neville sat nearby, and Luna flipped through the Quibbler. Ron muttered darkly, "Now he's the boy who lived again." Hermione scoffed. They're praising Harry, but they were the ones ridiculing him. As they talked, Harry's thoughts drifted. He hadn't told them what the prophecy truly meant, that either he or Voldemort would have to die. Hermione shook her head sadly. Pity it broke. Yeah, but at least you know who never heard it, Ron said. Harry rose. I promised to visit Hagrid. Outside, students lazed in the sun. Malfoy cornered Harry in the entrance hall. You're going to pay for what you did to my father. Snape arrived. Harry snarled, trying to decide what spell to use. McGonagall appeared just in time. She gave Gryffindor a flood of points for their bravery. Later, at Hagrid's hut, the half-giant offered dandelion juice. Harry avoided talking about Sirius. Hagrid spoke of Grop, improved now. He was a good lad, really. Then, softly, Hagrid said, Sirius died in battle. That's how he'd have wanted to go. He didn't want to go at all, Harry snapped. Hagrid bowed his head. Still, he wouldn't have let others do the fighting. Harry left. Alone, he wandered to the lake, remembering Sirius. He felt distanced from everyone, even in the sunshine. Later, in the dormitory, he found the mirror Sirius had given him. Hope surged. Sirius, he called into the mirror. Nothing, just his own face. He hurled the mirror into his trunk, shattered. Then he remembered. The ghosts. He raced through the castle, found nearly headless Nick. Sirius, he can come back, can't he? Like you? Nick looked sorrowful. Very few choose to remain. He won't come back. Harry turned away, feeling he'd lost Sirius all over again. Then he saw Luna. She was pinning signs about her missing things. Why do people take your stuff? They think I'm odd, Luna said calmly. But it always comes back. She spoke of her mother's death. But it's not like I'll never see her again, is it? Harry blinked. You think so? You heard them, didn't you? Behind the veil, just lurking out of sight. Harry walked away, the heavy weight of grief lifting, just slightly. On the train home, Malfoy tried to ambush Harry. DA members intervened. The bullies ended up hexed and humiliated. They chatted about relationships. Cho was with someone else now. Ginny had dumped Michael Corner. I'm going out with Dean, she said. What? Ron shouted. As the train pulled into King's Cross, Harry dreaded leaving. But he was met by the order. They approached the Dursleys. If we hear you've mistreated Harry, said Moody, you'll answer to us. Vernon blustered. Are you threatening me? Yes, said Moody. Harry looked at Lupin. You didn't have to come. Lupin smiled. Yes, we did. As the Dursleys led Harry away, he knew he was not alone. He had people who cared, who would fight for him. The war had begun, but Harry was ready to face it.